I was raised up on a farm. My dad was a farmer, and he was a small farmer, and then he was a big farmer. He farmed around 3,000 to 4,000 acres. We were probably the only white family within 2 miles or so. I heard a lot of the blues. Uh, there were like, I don't know, maybe 200 black families on our place that we farmed. The last one coming home, he'd be singing some kind of, oh Lord, let the sun go down on me, or something to that effect. When I started farming in '56, they had already changed over. It was all mechanized then. Cotton pickers and combines and that sort of things. So there weren't, like, instead of having 200 or 300 families on the farm, you might end up with 2 or 3 families on the farm. I met CJ, and he was a sharecropper. He and my dad used to get together on certain nights in the summertime, and my dad played guitar, and he would play piano, and mother would get mad. And they'd be drinking a little sauce and having a pretty good Saturday night time doing that sort of thing. And I got involved in listening to them do that, and I think that was inspiring to me. It was fun to me to see them do it, and I started hanging around with CJ quite a bit and trying to learn a little bit about what he was doing on piano. He played a nice blues piano. I don't know, I just liked a complete variety of things, and I never did settle really into one thing that I just wanted to stay in all the time, I guess. Ray Charles probably meshed things together kind of the way I would like to have seen it done when he came out with the Country and Western album. I really picked up on that. It had big bands with it and vocal groups, and he kind of covered the whole spectrum, and that's kind of what I think I wanted to do. CJ probably would like something like that. I did too. That is what you asked me. How do you write? It's funny how the ideas come and where they come from. Like sometimes the harder you work, the harder it is to get anything. But things will pop out at you, and then you'll just have to go with them. And sometimes the idea will come like a title of a book. Peter Growling wrote that book called Feel Like Going Home. I liked the title and everything, but I didn't really think that much more about it. I was driving through a little town in Arkansas, and all of a sudden, Feel Like Going Home, I kind of got the ideas for what I was going to do in the car. A lot of the stuff that we do in the studio here. My engineer records a lot of the stuff that, like, I may come out here and play an hour, or I may come out here and play 30 minutes or so, and he usually had me set up with a microphone and the piano hooked up, and we put down ideas from that. We also put down the ideas we have if we have musicians in, which we did for about 3 years on Tuesday nights, and they'd come in, we'd play just until we got tired, and so it's just different ways that you do it, and I'd be hard pressed to say exactly how you write. I just don't know, really. Lord, I feel like going home. I tried and I failed, and I'm tired and weary.
First book I wrote was Feel Like Going Home, which Charlie wrote the song for.
Right.
I mean, he said he wrote it from the feeling he got from the book.
From the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Charlie
Great song.
Yeah, it's an amazing song. Yeah.
Was the book as good as the song?
No.
I'm sure it was. It's good.
I had first met Charlie out at the Vapors in Memphis, out at the airport. I mean, really, it was just a one-night experience, and I wrote in Feel Like Going Home. I never had met anyone I liked better on first acquaintance, either him or his wife, Margaret Ann, who was a great songwriter, great person. And then I wrote the chapter for Feel Like Going Home. And Charlie had expressed, I mean, Charlie was not an up kind of a guy. You know, one of Charlie's sayings, I think he probably said it to me the first time I saw him, he says, I don't dig happy songs. They just don't say anything to me. And they didn't. He didn't take a bleak view, but he was not a big time optimist. And a lot of what I wrote about in Feel Like Going Home was the guilt that he expressed to me, the alcoholism that he experienced, the guilt he felt about having abandoned, the beliefs of the church he had grown up in, the guilt over singing music that his church and maybe his family wouldn't understand, and just it was not an upbeat kind of a story, and Margaret Ann reinforced that. I mean, it was a very honest self-portrait, and when I wrote it, I thought, oh, this is really too bad. I mean, I just love them, and I'm never going to see them again because I have to write this, and I have to write the true story. And right after the book came out, I got a call from the secretary at the publisher, and she said, I just thought you'd want to know, Charlie Rich just called up, and he ordered 35 copies of the book. He wanted, he wanted to give copies to all of his family. And I don't think he said this to her. He must have said this to me afterwards, but he said, it really hurt reading what I wrote. He says, but it's the truth. And, that's what's important. It's just the truth is what's important. And a couple of years later, he was out on a showcase tour. It was just a 6-city tour, during which, behind closed doors, just totally unexpectedly broke wide open. He had invited me to come down and see him at Max's Kansas City. But either the first or second night, Charlie said to me, I got a surprise for you, man. And I said, oh, that's great. Always nice. I always like to be surprised. And which is not really true. And it turned out to be a complete surprise to the band, too, because what he had written a song, and the song was Feel Like Going Home. And he told me afterwards that he had written it. He says, I didn't write it because I was in the book. I wrote it because this is what I got from the feel of the book. And it was just like, I mean, how can you have a bigger thrill than that? And not long after that, he sent me the demo he had done for Feel Like Going Home, just solo piano, which is just one of the most heartbreaking things you'll ever hear.
Lord, I feel like going home. I tried and I failed, and I'm tired and weary. Everything I've done was wrong, and I feel like going home. And that's it.
We re-recorded it when we did an album with Charlie right here at Phillips. And the weird thing was that this song of utter despair, of utter desolation, of just complete hopelessness, was transformed in the new version he did into a song of faith. I just remained friendly with Charlie over the years, and making the album with him was maybe one of the most remarkable expressions of that friendship.